Hello and welcome to YourLocalNote.com. We got another featured podcast for you, and we've got Larry Saklad from Philadelphia, singer-songwriter. Looking forward to talking to him about his music and to listen to a few. It's going to be great. So we'll be with Larry in just a few minutes, but we also want to remind you we've got our newsletter you can subscribe to. All you have to do, it's free. You just send us an email at contact@yourlocalnote.com. Remember, we're streaming 24/7. We've got free apps. You can download them for absolutely free. Go to the respective stores, type in YLN, download it for free, and you can take YourLocalNote.com with you anywhere you want. Also, don't forget we do the weekly YLN update too. Keep you up to date on what's happening as far as the Philly music scene is concerned. And our concert calendar. Got to go all through this stuff so you know what we're doing here at YourLocalNote.com. All right, we've got our first song. It's from Larry Saklad. The song is called Salt in My Coffee from his album Saklad, right here on YourLocalNote.com.
Salt in my coffee, not gonna sprinkle sugar on my steak. Yes, I'm gonna savor every one of these flavors, gonna embrace all that's on my plate. But with her, I stumble down again, playing some clown, and I don't wanna be down there. Shadows that were clouding my thinking, putting my attention on my weakened state. If love is letting go, I finally surrender. Now every moment is a fresh, clean slate. But with her, I stumble down again, playing some clown, and I don't wanna be down now. Don't wanna be down now. Don't wanna be down now. Free to be your witness. Wind blown on a mountain peak, letting our soul take wing. We're gonna find just what we seek. So tired of thinking, can't get no satisfaction, and no more questions if the hill's too steep. But with her, I stumble down again, playing some clown, and I don't wanna be. No, I don't wanna be. Down now. Don't wanna be down now. Don't wanna be down now.
The song is called Salt in My Coffee. It's from Larry Saklad, and that's his self-titled album, Saklad. That came out, in about 2010, Larry?
2010.
Excellent,
yes.
Excellent. Well,
How
Larry,
are you out there in Radio Land?
Yes. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on YourLocalNote.com.
Very well. Very glad to be here.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the song, Salt in My Coffee.
Salt in My Coffee.
Then we could do a little background on you and your
Sounds good.
musical history, because you have a wide range and an interesting history. I want to get to that. So let's talk about Salt in My Coffee. You wrote the song.
Salt in My Coffee is very representative of some of the changes I was going through. Mm-hmm. I came back into the Philadelphia music scene in 2006, and it was also following a breakup of my wife. You know, okay. I went through a major
tough personal time,
separation, and tough time. Went through some changes. I had been working at the post office for 20 some odd years at that point. Rather than go backwards yet.
Sure.
And so Salt in My Coffee was kind of the song I had to write to let all that go and move into the new area of my life. So it's very representative of the change that I went through, and the Saklad album was kind of that pivotal time.
Okay.
So the stuff I wrote before Saklad was like kind of in one style, probably more reminiscent of the 80s. And currently I feel like there's a lot of new stuff that I'm really working with, and sequences and electronica is all wrapping into my funky alternative rock, whatever it is that I do.
It's your music. That's what it is.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, you don't want to be pigeonholed, which is good. And I think that adds to unpredictability. And I think that's good sometimes.
Yes. I mean, predictable, unpredictable. It's that push and pull. However you can cajole the listener's ear, and then maybe 6 months later that they might still remember your name.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Let's briefly go through your history, because you've got a very rich musical history. You started when you were a kid.
I did. I've got to say, I remember the first musical experience I ever had, and it really wasn't a musical experience. The new piano had been given to us from my grandmom, and I was around, well, I guess I wasn't quite 6 years old, and I do remember thinking about it, and like the high notes seemed to be really like rain, and I would be like banging on the low notes.
Right.
But my mom describes it that I didn't bang. Now, my brothers and sisters, they kind of banged, and I did more of that rumble and like experiment with stuff. So I was creating a thunderstorm, rainstorm. Like,
from the very get-go.
Yeah, 5-something years old, and they decided to get me lessons at 6, and my brother, who was 7.
Okay.
So I kind of like jumped in. And by 10 years old, I had been playing some classical music. I was from Connecticut, Danbury, and it's pretty close to New York City.
Yes.
So being that my piano teacher from Danbury, Connecticut was in association with the New York's Teachers Association and class, whatever it was, there were auditions each year. And the second, when I was 9, I won in my age group, which became a mixed age group when I was 10.
Right.
And for some reason, and I don't explain it, I don't know. I barely remember it, but I played Carnegie Hall when I was 10 years old because I won the mixed age group. And then we moved to Philadelphia.
Okay. The whole family moved down here.
And all I knew about at that point was I'm going to get my keyboard.
Right.
And I started listening to transistor radio under my pillow to WFIL and Wibbage. And I was learning the Doors and like, you know. So we started playing in bands when I was 13. I got my first mini compact organ and started playing the Doors and Beatles and Stones and just about anything we could get our hands on. Some of the Nas back in those days. I remember Shapes of Things was coming out, and we did that one.
Right.
And then I moved.
And then you moved away
and
from
then I moved. I was just going into my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And I almost stayed. I loved the bands I was in, and things were really happening for us, but I moved. And next thing I knew, I'm graduating high school outside of Boston.
Okay.
And there wasn't a whole lot going on where I was. I was about 45 minutes west of Boston, and although we would come into Cambridge and do all the great...
the Worcester area, right? Or as they say, Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah.
It's funny that area became significant a few years later when I returned to Philadelphia and made my permanent home here. So in 1975, I returned to Philly thinking I was going to go to Temple University composition program. But they were very, very, very jazz classical purists, and they didn't want to hear my Mood for a Day on a steel string guitar. They wanted it to be a classical non-string guitar, and I looked at them and I looked at me, and I passed every other audition. I was already in the program except for this stickler.
Right.
And I said, this isn't the right school for me. Then I put an ad up in Cincioli's and was auditioned for the Allen Man and the Free Arts Band in 1976, and I became their piano player.
Nice. Yeah, and so
that was the beginning.
You had a nice run.
A very nice run, you know, and Allen was great.
Then you left music for a while.
Well, there was another band. Okay. One of my junior high school buddies, Dave Rowan, had just returned from meeting Pete Townsend over in England and The Who, and Simon was co-writing with Simon and came back to Philadelphia. This would have been 77. Right. 77. And the thing was, or I'm sorry, 87. It's 10 years later.
Okay.
87. Alan had just died. Alan Mann had the accident in October of 87. We heard it on Street Beat with Cindy Drew. And he never regained consciousness. They pulled the plug 2 weeks later. And so I thought, I had just spoken to him on the street thinking I was going to get back in with his band because I just got a brand new keyboard. I was telling him about it.
Right.
So one thing led to another, and then I found out Dave Rowan was back in town, and he was looking for a keyboard player too. So within a month, we were working together in his project called Existence.
Okay.
So yes, that was a major part too, and that's where I met Doug Grigsby, one of my favorite bass players, Tina Marie's bass player producer for all those years.
Okay.
Until just about 5 years ago when he returned to Philadelphia also.
Okay.
And so I might have been speaking a lot, way too much, but Doug is very he has a gift, you know. He has a natural gift both for bass playing and for producing, and he's a great producer. So we're working together right now. Okay. And this is where it comes first, full circle. Why I called the album Spellbound because there was a song that's just so revolutionary. Now, we don't have the final recording done yet.
Okay.
And hopefully we will be much closer when this is aired.
So, yeah, you did take a little break from music.
I sure did.
And then you came back in about, 2004, 2005?
About 2004 or 5, I started doing open mics again.
Okay.
And I was...
What got you to do that?
I never stopped, but there's one thought, a very specific thought, like, is this whole music thing going to end up being just a hobby? And that floored me. That I was like shriveling up every time I thought that.
So you had a career, then you changed it into a hobby and did some other things.
Well, I didn't want it to be. I didn't admit that it was a hobby, but the way it was heading,
it was a hobby.
It was never going to come back to being. It would never be the career. And
so you got to make a decision.
And I was shrinking inside. I was losing my center. A lot of things were changing for me, including the family setup. And eventually, I left the post office.
Okay.
Luckily, I had a way to go, early retirement in 2008. And committed to doing the music from now on.
Nice.
With a little bit of a retirement from the post office, so I can
so you can have fun.
I'm a little bit less, I have that little bit of a net, but I got to tell you, it's very small.
But it does take the pressure off.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so it's not like, okay, if I don't do this, or if I don't sell, or if I don't have a big crowd at this show, I'm not eating this week.
It's true. And this gets into the reasons why I'm doing it now compared to then.
Okay.
I don't think when kids are in their 20s, I think my chops were great.
Right.
I probably am just barely approaching how good my chops were in my 20s.
Okay.
Playing piano. But I also play guitar, and I've been, doing a lot of writing. I was writing since I was 13, 10. I wrote my first song about a 2-seated motorcycle when I was like 10, and it sounded a lot like "Hang On, Sloopy."
Oh, just as long as you don't publish it,
with
right?
the double seat. It's like so. British Invasion, it was all in there.
Fantastic.
But so the thing I was trying to say was that I'm not motivated necessarily by the fame, by the notoriety, or by my musicianship or talent in that respect. What really drives me is the song, is the fact that I've been working on my songwriting and taking a real active role in it, because I wasn't an avid reader. I was not your, the one that took the liberal arts program. That wasn't me. I was a science major.
Really?
My dad gave me this great scientific stuff, and not very good at math.
Okay.
But chemistry, so
you got to have some math with chemistry.
So there was this battle of the humanities, the technologies. It's I could have done it, but I just think that because it didn't come quite as naturally to me, I ended up working harder at it.
Oh, okay.
And so, maybe music was a natural thing, I think, musically, but when the words started, that's thrilling to me because I had to work so much harder at that.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right. What we're going to do then is we're going to come to play song number 2. And then when we come back, we're going to get back to where you are right now with your music.
Sounds good.
All right. The next song we're featuring here on the podcast is All of a Sudden. And this is actually a single.
It is a single.
But part of a group of songs that you're calling Spellbound.
That's true. I have a bunch of songs, about 10 songs that we had already written, and well, some of them got written as we were going, but they all become the collection called Spellbound. But we realized that people aren't going to absorb 10 songs at once, and we wanted to get something out right away.
Okay.
Like, saying this Spellbound album, and nobody's heard anything for like a year. So I finally said, let me release 3 songs, and then I'll release another 3 songs.
And they're all part of Spellbound.
And then it'll be the full album.
Okay, great. All right. Again, the song is called All of a Sudden. This is Larry Saklad we're hanging with on yourlocalnote.com. That's All of a Sudden from Larry Saklad, and we're hanging with him and talking about his music and his career.
Did you like that cheesy organ?
I did like that. I did like that. That sounded good. Brings back memories.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing that one.
Excellent.
It reminds me of the Doors.
Let's yes, you hear that. Let's talk a little bit about All of a Sudden. You wrote that. What is that about?
All of a Sudden is sort of what I was saying. I was going through something with the earlier album in 2010 and kind of getting that out off of me. Well, in 2008, I rekindled a really strong relationship with someone I had known way back in college years,
right.
And we had co-wrote some songs back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And her name's Kim, and she's on the new songs. In fact, she's written the lyrics for our next song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
very cool.
Up on the Bluffs is all about a Bermuda doorman. His name's Winfield.
Okay, we're going to get to that when we play that song. Let's stay with
But interestingly, that's
so
Kim
she helped
DeMeo.
you with that.
This is Kim DeMeo,
right.
And we were, and I kind of had some music, and she's been writing words and stuff. So
okay.
I looked at that one again, and it just fit.
Right.
For a year, we were sitting on the words.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it just worked, and I really like Up on the Bluffs. I added some special of the new stuff that I've been doing, and they call them sequences.
Okay.
And tried to put together something that's reminiscent of hand drums, but
gotcha.
in sort of a new way. And if you listen hard, you'll hear that it's not hand drums, but it sounds kind of like hand
Okay,
drums.
very cool. Now, your songwriting, when you were first starting off in music, you were a member of a band. You didn't do a lot of songwriting with those bands, did you?
That's true.
Okay.
I didn't in the early ones. Cover bands predominantly when we were younger.
Right. So but you had been writing on your own, just it's something that you like to do.
It's true. In fact, in high school, I did my poetry class. I ended up doing like a 5-song, reel-to-reel tape, and the songs that I was writing all year. Because when I moved to Boston, I had nothing to do.
Right.
So I think that's probably when I really realized that, I was into poetry writing. I was kind of a loner.
Right.
And I would sit out and just write songs. Like I think I would set up finally in my senior year. I needed to write 1 song a week, or I was not happy.
But the thing is, those songs sat, right?
They kind of sat, but they were my development. So it brought me to a better place.
Would you go back to some of those songs and maybe try to retune them?
I have them all. I do have them all.
That's
They're
what I'm
all
saying.
Faded papers in this brown leather case.
Wow. Wow.
But
that's
I
funny.
do look at them from time to time, and no, I probably won't ever do them.
But now you're concentrating on your songwriting. This is very important to you.
And it's coming quick right now. Now, there's new stuff. There's even the next album stuff starting to come out.
But do you concentrate more on the music than the lyrics, or is it a mixture of both?
I wish I could control it better.
Okay.
I was telling the muse, don't come to me. Don't give me any more songs. And then John Lennon I had this big poster.
Right. So John was talking to you.
He
through
was
the
talking
poster.
to me, and we wrote a song together, both about Alan Mann, because I've been doing this really great thing about Christmas on the Block, which is his song, and we've had a really good run this year, a lot of support on the 30th anniversary of the song that came out. And so now Alan's not around now, and another member of that band, Jerry Healy, also part of Brew Review, is no longer around.
Right.
And we've lost a lot of people. In fact, I got the button over there.
Okay.
George Manny, who's involved with this rekindling of the South Street and the 80s and archived all this great stuff about local bands. And he's really been a big help in also was playing drums when the original recording was done.
Okay.
So he played with Alan in the years after I had played with him as keyboard man. He was a drummer. And then we were in bands together later, cover band stuff. But the neat thing was that Ken Queter had played blues harp on it, good friend now, and we're singing together. We've got some videos from last year.
You play quite a few different instruments.
Yes, and I'm guitar,
keyboards.
I actually play more guitar now for my singer-songwriter stuff, but I'm also in a reggae band, so I haven't dropped the keyboards. In fact, I was just at a rehearsal flying out here. That's why I'm a little bit winded and thirsty.
Okay.
But yeah, reggae, I mean, it's keeping my chops up, and I love it.
Keeping yourself busy, right?
And so, yeah.
Now, let's get back to talking about recording of your songs.
Wait, one quick note.
Go ahead.
Sacred Vibration. We're going to have some recordings for you soon.
Okay. All right. Are they going to be original?
All original. Anthony Curry is the writer for this band.
Okay.
And then we're all adding our music.
Well, when you get it all together, we'll get you back in here and we'll talk with them.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, they'll like that.
Okay. Now let's talk about your songs that you're producing.
Appreciate.
Now, how involved are you with the production of your songs? I
didn't used to be involved at all. Back in the day, I was a keyboard player, and I remember, Alan turning on the Leslie and then I'd play piano, and I do my synthesizing, but that's about the most production I do. Then I got my 4-track, cassette. They called it Porta Studio back in the day.
Yes.
And everybody had a Tascam Porta Studio. So from that point on, this would have been probably in the 90s. I started doing the MIDI recording, and it was a home studio. I wouldn't want people to hear this stuff, and I didn't realize.
But you were teaching yourself.
I was learning, and I was getting my stuff down, even more important.
Okay.
It didn't matter how it sounded. At least I had a keyboard parts and a bunch of guitar, and I could do a solo, and I was learning how to get the drums to sound like drums. And now it's gotten a lot better. In fact,
So it's a do-it-yourself.
and all the new songs that we have posted right now are what I've recorded at home, and we've gone back and forth and kind of.
Do you get help? Do you get help from friends saying, "Hey," you go to them, "Hey, check this out and tell me what you think."
Yeah, the biggest help is the car. I know right away if I screwed it up, and then I'll go back and I've got to tell you, there's so many things now when you're doing it electronically, and I also have some mastering software. So, just for my own purposes, I would rather take it out. Like I used Ryan Schwabe on this album, and it was really important that he did that because it gives another set of ears and monitors on my stuff, which I don't have the best speakers. I don't have the $2,000 mic. I'm not going to be able to achieve the same quality as your Sony, Super Studios, or whoever.
So, but you go in your car and you listen.
And the fact that, listening in other studios, like Doug, for example, oh man, I heard exactly what I was doing wrong, and he kind of pointed it out to me by showing me what he did. I went back to my songs, and I'm like, okay, that.
So he showed you more production-wise than actually music.
Yeah. So now it's really cool because he's kind of up in the area, and we've been doing some recording for the reggae band to get some of that.
So you
going
have a
too.
group of guys that you can lean on and say, all right, let me know what you think, and you can trust them.
Yes,
to give you really
and
good
that
advice.
group has grown exponentially since Facebook, and so it's been really cool that I'm in touch with people that even Kim, I wouldn't have found her if it wasn't for Facebook.
And is she in Philadelphia?
And she's in Philadelphia, and
cool.
we hit it right off the first day we reunited.
And she's written lyrics for a couple of your songs.
Yes, and also sings.
Oh, nice.
She's also singing on stuff. In fact, there's God, what songs on that album? Well, there's 3 songs I have noted that she's written, written or co-written. With me. And
very cool.
Yeah, she's singing on I Forget.
Excellent. All right, let's go to song number 3. We're going to play it first, and then when we come back, we'll talk about it because I know you got a lot to talk about with this one.
Sounds good.
This one, the lyrics are from Kim. This is called Up on the Bluffs. We're hanging with Larry Saklad on yourlocalnote.com.
Up on the bluffs, Winfield stands waiting, greeting weary travelers as they arrive. Up on the bluffs, Winfield's handshake is ready, welcoming patrons up the cobblestone drive. This gentleman's journey began in life early. He carried their bags for a dime. His smile warms the tough ones and melts all the rough ones. He offers to capture their snapshot in time. Up on the bluffs, Winfield stands waiting. Journey began in life early, and now he's a real dapper Dan. His smile warms the tough ones and melted the rough ones, offering bottles of coral pink sand. Timeless and gracious, he'll turn you to places. So many friends ready to see him again. Up on the bluffs, Winfield stands waiting. Up on the bluffs. stands waiting up on the bluffs, up on the bluffs. Wheatfield stands waiting. Up on the bluffs, Wheatfield stands waiting. Up on the
That is Up on the Bluffs, and it's from the Spellbound collection that Larry Saklad has out right now. 3 songs, 3 new songs that he has out, and he's got a bunch more that he's working on, and we're looking forward to hearing from them.
Yes, we do.
Let's talk about Up on the Bluffs. Now, music is from you,
Music's
and the
from me.
lyrics are from Kim.
Yes.
Which came first?
The lyrics actually came first. We were on vacation, and we were very inspired by a doorman who had a little tiny bottle of the pink sand, the coral sand.
Sure.
And he just was so full of life and so old soul.
Mm-hmm.
So she'd written the song, his name's Winfield, and just seemed like the perfect, up on the bluffs, this guy's waiting to greet you. And
Yes.
of course, the symbolic, for me, it's kind of symbolically relates to, who's up there in heaven waiting to greet everybody.
Right. Yeah,
so
okay.
it kind of... Many of my songs have many levels, and you'll find another level below the top level.
So, 2 people can listen to your song and come away with different meanings.
I'm hoping, yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. Now, when Kim writes lyrics, or does she just like to write and then you listen to her and then you say, you know what, I want to put a song to that? Is that how that works?
I gotta tell you, it works 2 ways. Mm-hmm. Now, for those words, she had written them, but she must have had something in mind, and I think she had 2 of the verses written, but the structure wasn't quite right. So we will kind of go back and forth, and I'll say well, can we do this here, and maybe you can structure that like that. On the Spellbound song, another song that isn't recorded, The recording that I want to release isn't done yet.
Okay.
But I had asked her, I wanted to have this section which really reminded me of a hip-hop section, and the words rattle off quick. So I kind of told her what I was looking for.
Right.
I said, maybe you could get that for me, because I have this other part of the song. I have all the verses. I just don't know how to do this. And she wrote brilliant imagery and all this stuff. So I can't wait to get that one out. And
nice.
It may be in your hands by the time this comes up.
Excellent. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, sounds like you're having fun writing with her.
A lot of fun. Very inspired. In fact, we get along, fabulously.
That's excellent. Do you like that better, or is it one of these things where sometimes I like writing with her because it's different, and then sometimes I just like writing by myself because I got this idea and it's going to be just me working on this?
Yes.
Okay.
I like it all. There's pluses of writing for myself, and she wants me to have the stuff that I'm writing too, because I tend to be lazy if I let myself.
Okay.
And I'll just, that's great. Let's just use your stuff, And then 6 months go by, and I'm like, wow, am I ever going to write another song?
Yeah,
So I have to do it too, and get and plus you kind of go through phases. So you might write 2 or 3 songs in a sort of state about a sort of a state of mind or about a certain general topic,
right?
And then nothing comes for a few months, and then some other kind of topic comes up, and you're writing kind of in that.
So do you write, because there are some artists who they have to experience in order to write, and there's some artists who like to tell stories, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something they experienced. They just like to write stories, and I think both ways are fine. I don't have an issue with one way or another, but I am intrigued by how it seems like it's one or the other. It's never a combination of both. So do you write from experience, or do you like to tell stories?
Man, I've gone through some changes, and I've also consciously tried to change some of the things that I've gone for before.
Why would you do that?
A lot of what is in the songs, and at this point sort of between the lines, because I realize you can't tell people theories. You can't tell people how to be. So, yes, stories are important because you can kind of weave the ideas that you're trying to, share and inspire them with inside, like tucked into the story.
Sure.
Stories are good talking about, like Winfield is a person song. It's about people. And, going back in history, I was just thinking about this with someone else, how Alan Mann, I think every song he wrote was about people. And I think that gave him a really distinctive way of writing where I wasn't so much about the story or about the people.
Right.
But I thought it was important to get people inspired and talk about inspiration and give them hope when there's no hope and, sing the sad song, but because you're trying to keep them from going too sad.
Yeah.
And I can talk from experience in that because, if I wouldn't have held on when I was going through my downward spiral, then, I wouldn't have this, now the chance to do what I'm doing. And that is a really important thought that people should be, bombarded with.
Right. Now when you write, and when you start writing, once you start, you have to finish it, or you start and then put it aside and come back to it? How does that work with you? Or is it a combination of both?
I do have to write it. And I have to finish it. Okay. Because I have a lot of pieces of stuff that I never finish. But every now and then, sometimes I'll look at two songs and they'll combine. Okay. And then all of a sudden, that's the way to finish. Okay. So I have come back. But that was a lot more the story when I first started going back into my catalog. Okay. And I'm trying to get all this stuff recorded. I got those songs and all these songs that I didn't do, little by little I'm working on this. Once I got all that backlog out of the way and they were hit or miss, then I could start with the newer stuff. And it's kind of the way I'm feeling right now. I got some other stuff that's even better than Spellbound stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this all in order.
So you've got Spellbound. The songs are written and ready to be recorded.
All written, and I'm playing them too.
Okay, you're playing them live. Yep. But now you still have a whole nother group of songs.
The frickin' Muse is back.
Okay, nice. so we're going to see. So is it safe to say that by the middle or end of 2014, you're going to be working on a new album?
I think you're going to see the finishing up of Spellbound and some real serious new stuff all in this year. Okay. 2014.
Boy, you got a busy year coming.
Yeah, and I think that's exciting.
Good. Let's talk about you're back playing. You've been playing for a while.
Good.
People come out to see you. You've got the reggae band. But you're not the lead in the reggae band. No. You're just part of the band there. Mm-hmm. But when people come out to see you, what kind of show are they going to expect?
For my show? Yeah. Well, my normal show is I'll go out. Because I've been recording, I'm able to bring out some of my original backtracks. Right. So if I'm playing guitar, I get to hear my piano parts.
Sometimes you're by yourself.
And sometimes I'll do it solo. Okay. I've also got the 12-string Guild, which is so nice acoustic. Yes, But then I've been going out electric, especially. Okay. So it's
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm probably a better singer with the guitar. Okay. I have a hard time when you're playing on the piano.
Why is that psychological?
It may be. Okay. I mean, I'm concentrating and it is two hands, so it's like I'm trying to do the juggle of three rings, the two hands and the vocal.
I always found the guitar easier to play than the piano.
So you can kind of let that be and just concentrate on that vocal. And plus you can kind of lead
But with
back.
the piano, you're playing the melody and the chords.
And plus I'm sitting usually. But although I like to play standing reggae band, people see me bopping like crazy. And there's some video up there. So,
very cool. Where can people find your music?
And, I've got my site called sakladmusic.com. Okay. It's all linked there. But we also have the high-quality saklad.bandcamp.com for your downloads. And you'll find the singles up there. And all my newest stuff will be released there from Spellbound. So
excellent. Excellent.
All the news will be found out there. Plus, you can find me on Facebook. Just look for Larry Saklad or Saklad Music.
And that would be Saklad.
There you go.
Excellent. Larry, this has been just enjoyable talking to you.
So glad we came out.
Excellent. Very good.
And we did have some problems because, we're taping, and yesterday we had a nice little snowstorm, and we're trying to wedge this all in. So I had to practice and back to back, and here's RJ. He hung out late just to let me come by. What is it now, 11? Oh, no.
No. It was my pleasure. It was
my pleasure, too.
I listened to the music. It sounds great, and looking forward to hearing some more music from you. We're going to finish up with What If, so let's quickly go through that. What is that song about?
Here's a perfect example. I realized I could not tell people about the law of attraction. People are, and really, who wants to hear, theory?
Right.
You don't. So I came up with this song, What If?
Okay.
And I created, what if this fantasy? What if that fantasy? And the thing is, what if it's all true?
Okay.
And then I end the song, well, you'll see.
All right. Very good. All right. We're going to end it with What If here on yourlocalnote.com. Larry, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks, Your Local Note.
Okay. And this is Larry Saklad, and the song is called What If. Just a quick reminder, we're going to have a brand new podcast coming your way next week. Again, you want the weekly newsletter, just send us an email, contact@yourlocalnote.com. And, of course, don't forget about our streaming and our YLN video updates and our concert calendar. We got all the stuff. If you're interested in and love music from the Philadelphia area, it's at yourlocalnote.com. All right, here's What If from Larry Saklad on yourlocalnote.com.
with